Welcome everybody to another Supplier Spotlight. I am so excited for this company to be on with me today, to be exhibiting at ICCFA 2022. I have Trajan from Foveo with me. I think I nailed both of those.
Yeah, you absolutely did. Nice to see you,
Awesome.
Ryan.
Nice to
Thanks so
see
much.
you. Tell
Thanks
us
so
a little
much
bit about what you do, who you are, and
for
we'll get
sure. Well, you
into it.
got my name right. It's Trajan. And if I give you both names, it just gets too long and complicated. So Trajan's great. Last name Schulzke, and I'm the CEO at Foveo Memorial. So we've been in the funeral streaming business now for, I'll say I've been in it for 10 years, and I've been with Foveo now for 18 months.
Okay.
Had a finger on the pulse for the last 10 years, and as the pandemic rolled around, we realized that the timing of our business was actually now where we could help the most funeral homes and the families that they serve. And so we actually took the opportunity for a bit of a reset ourselves and looking at the technology and how things have changed over the last decade. And so we've actually been able to take advantage of technology now and pivot at that moment. So I'm excited to be able to be here today and talk to you about Foveo and what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to be here. I'm excited for what you're doing. You're doing some things that are unique to you when it comes to live streaming. And, it's funny to me because live streaming, I remember the first funeral NFDA conference I went to in 2008. There seemed to be about a dozen streaming companies. And now the pandemic has resurrected the value of it's been valuable the whole time. But now it's like this is an expected experience that the consumer or the family expects to have when they entrust a funeral home. So I want to ask you about your client care guest support because it's very unique.
Well, no, I appreciate that, and you're right. This need has always been around, but the pandemic's done two things. One is it made it necessary for funeral homes from a business perspective, and I'd love to talk about that a little bit. And secondly, now it's socially acceptable. Whereas before, attending a funeral online might have been like, well, why didn't you come? People are actually grateful you come now. And so something that was really on our minds and hearts at the time of the pandemic was looking at everything that funeral directors were needing to do. Like the burden became just that much heavier. And then technology adding to that, there was a need for us to actually simplify. And I know that every streaming company will talk to you about simple, but what we've done is not only simplify, but then extended that to make sure that we've got client care. So actually every stream that we do has a co-host, a Foveo co-host, who live monitors that stream, but even before the stream begins. And generally about 30 minutes before, there's actually communication between our co-host and the funeral home where the setup's happening and the video and audio get checked, making sure that they're working right. And then, you know what, at that point, it's in our hands and the funeral director can go back and take care of the family, take care of the in-person needs, knowing that we are taking care of the live stream and those guests who, if for some reason the live stream starts a couple minutes late, the funeral home phone is ringing off the hook. People are like, is it going to happen? Am I here? In fact, what we do is we have client care supporting that, but we took a step back and said, okay, let's make sure the same experience happens that online that happens in the funeral home. When people arrive, they're welcomed. The funeral director or an assistant says welcome, and the family asks, is this where the Jones service is? And the funeral director says, yeah, we're going to start in 20 minutes. Why don't you just make your way down to the chapel? Well, same thing online needs to happen where you arrive and you're presented with a welcome screen. You see the face of the person that you love, you see their name, the dates, and you see the time that the service is going to begin and a message, which we can change, which basically says if things are going to start late, we're waiting for all the guests to arrive and we'll be getting underway shortly. So there's that same experience that you have in the funeral home needs to be extended out to the online guests as well.
I love it. And I love that you're using the word experience because I think we expect as consumers that everything that we engage in now needs to be an experience. So I love that language. I love the co-host option or that, well, not option.
It happens all the time.
You have the co-host because I know one of the biggest hurdles for funeral professionals to look at live streaming is the technology piece of it. So tell me a little bit about your simplicity cam that you offer.
Actually, at the heart of it is that it has to be easy to set up. And so our simplicity cam, actually, you'll probably see a case behind me there. everything you need comes in that case. There's the camera itself. There's the wireless microphone kit with 2 microphones. So we want to make sure that we pick up not only what's happening at the podium, but the music in the room and the other sounds that guests want to be able to hear and as part of that experience. We've got, it sits on a tripod, and it's got a telephoto lens on it. So basically it doesn't have to sit in front of the family or right next to the podium, but you can take that back, with a 58 millimeter. So some people will know what that means, but it gets you about twice as close,
Wow.
and so essentially you've got that wireless microphone, you've got the telephoto lens, it's all set up there, ready to go. And audio is so important to us. So that's actually something that we have focused on a lot, because you'll watch, video with a mediocre kind of quality, but if the audio is off, you turn it off.
That's
And
right.
so we really make sure that the audio is crystal clear.
I love it. All right. So when it comes to using the system, the stream is happening. Tell me about the Director app that you have available as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So one of the things we heard, we were at NFDA back in October, and one of the things we were hearing a lot of, and we were already on that path, was that, you know what, a lot of times the cemetery is out of Wi-Fi, not out of Wi-Fi, it's obviously out of Wi-Fi range, but it's out of network range, so wireless, and what they were saying is, what do we do if we don't have coverage? And our Simplicity cams actually use 5G. Where it's available, they're using 5G, which is fantastic. But we heard about, the cemeteries that are, up in the hills or down in the river valley or wherever it is, and you're not able to get a wireless signal there. And so the Director app, a couple things about this. First of all, it introduces redundancy. So if for some reason during the stream the signal drops, which can happen, then the Director app actually flips on the local recording. And so you've got the local recording, which will then later be automatically stitched to the stream. Or you may know right away you're going to be out of wireless range. And so then you're going to have to start right away with the app to start local recording. So you're going to be able to take that, and when you get back to the funeral home or back into cell service, you can upload that. You'll be prompted to upload that. So this is a new app that we've actually,
Awesome.
that we're launching right after the show. We're super excited about it because the redundancy, and we're also going to be looking at, the ability, didn't mention, to press a button. So the Simplicity cam, we turn on and off the Simplicity cam. We actually mute the mics before the service, and then when we get a message from the funeral director, we flip those on. So that's actually, co-produced in many ways, but in a reasonable way, at a cost actually that's reasonable to the funeral home, so that more families can do this.
That's
And
so
so we're
great.
basically making sure that we've got everything a funeral director needs to know. Okay, it's getting done. I don't have to worry about the technology. And the families also, they're depending on the funeral home to make this happen. It's why they handed it off to you, because
Yeah.
it's like, we need you to do this. This is not actually, we want everybody to be fully present that day. We don't want to be fiddling around with iPhones and
Yeah.
whatever we can do. So that's kind of, what we're doing. The Simplicity cam is really an important part of that Director app. Lets you actually, now the director can even start and stop the stream themselves from their own phone. So
Love it.
basically they'll be starting and stopping that camera from their own phone. So they can even be out of the room and just go start. So there's a lot of great things we're bringing in.
That's so much value, and it takes a lot of the stress off of the funeral professional, which is a huge, it's a fear part of this. So being able to relieve that stress is massive. All right. So a couple things coming up. You're going to be at ICCFA. What is your booth number?
We're at 1506. So
We're right next door to you.
we are neighbors. You bet. It's going to be it's going to be a great show. Yeah.
I love it. It is going to be a great show, but you also have a special presentation happening at the show as well, right?
We do. Yeah. I'm actually going to be presenting on Friday at noon. I kind of feel like it's almost like a gunfight. I'll tell you, meet me Friday at noon. Okay, so I'm going to be there Friday at noon, and we're going to be talking about 5 ways that you can make live streaming more meaningful for online guests. And so it's an opportunity to learn that. Another thing that we've been doing to kind of make sure that this presentation actually adds a lot of value to everybody there is we've been running a survey in the last 3 weeks. We're doing a state of funeral streaming survey. And so we've had that out there. We've had great response, and we've got a lot of data that's come back to us about what are people doing, so that when you come to the session that I'm delivering, you're actually going to find out about how you're doing against everybody else? Are you kind of holding your own? Are you a little behind? What are the things that people are saying is working? What are some of the things people are saying why they don't stream, and what you can do about those things? So it should be a good session together, and looking forward to delivering that and sharing that data, because it's been very insightful.
That's awesome. Well, Trajan, thank you so much for coming on, meeting with me. I'm excited to see you at ICCFA, and I'm really excited for Foveo and what you're doing and how you're really innovating on the live streaming side of the profession and providing that seamless experience for the guests. So well done.
Thanks so much, Ryan. It's been such a pleasure to be here talking to you, and really looking forward to seeing you in Las Vegas.
All right. I'll see you there. Take care.
Take care.